Thanks for joining us for KBOI 2 News Midday. I'm Kelsey Anderson. Now to your top 11 stories at 11 o'clock. Lane restrictions continue in downtown Boise after an overnight water main break. The break flooded Front and Capitol around midnight. Crews with United Water were out early this morning digging up the area to target the problem and fix the main. The Grove Hotel was without water after the break, but front desk employees tell KBOI the water was turned on at about 8:30 this morning. A cyclist was sent to the hospital with minor injuries this morning after being hit by a vehicle. Police say the man on the bike was riding the wrong way down the sidewalk at Fairview and McKinney when he passed by a driveway into a business. That's when the driver of the vehicle hit the man on his bike.
You have to yield to pedestrians and bicyclists whenever they're on the sidewalk. And so it's also a good message for bicyclists to always ride with traffic. This type of situation happens quite often where people will only look one way, however they disregard the pedestrian traffic or bike traffic on the right.
Officers say the cyclist was not wearing a helmet. He suffered a cut to his head. The Wall Street Journal reports a China-owned company is offering $23 billion for Micron. If the sale goes through, this could be the biggest buyout ever of an American company by China. But any sale of the company would not only have to be approved by Micron stockholders, but also the federal government. After nearly 2 years of talks, negotiators emerged from closed-door discussion in Austria this morning to announce they made a deal to curb Iran's nuclear program. The deal comes in exchange for sanctions relief. We'll have an in-depth report with details of the deal coming up in just minutes. Oregon State Police say 3 people were seriously injured Monday in a 2-vehicle wreck on Highway 20 near Vail. Troopers say a 17-year-old Ontario girl was eastbound when she played with the radio while entering a curve. She crossed into the westbound lane and hit a couple from Wisconsin head-on. All 3 went to the hospital. Highway 20 was closed for about 2 hours during that investigation. This morning, the parents of a missing 2-year-old are sharing their story. They told EastIdahoNews.com they believe their boy, Dior Kuntz Jr., was abducted.
And we didn't hear people around us. We didn't see anybody.
Because it's such a small area. That's what a lot of people, they don't understand, is they just assume, how could you let your kid out of your sight? This area is pretty well blocked in, and you can see, there's no way you couldn't not see him.
The toddler hasn't been seen since Friday afternoon. He was camping with his family near Timber Creek Reservoir, that's near the Montana border. Yesterday, for reasons not made clear, the Lemhi County Sheriff's Office called off the search for the boy. An incredible story of survival. A 16-year-old girl survives a plane crash in a wooded area of Washington and then walks to safety. After flagging down a vehicle, she's now recovering in the hospital. We'll have an in-depth report on the crash and an update on her condition coming up in just minutes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Celebration after an historic flyby of Pluto this morning. NASA scientists celebrated at Mission Control just before 6 o'clock this morning. The New Horizons spacecraft was launched about 9 years ago and was expected to get the closest look of the dwarf planet we've ever seen. We'll have an update and an in-depth report on what the images of Pluto will help explain coming up later in the show. And it's opening night at the Snake River Stampede, and this year is a big one as the rodeo celebrates 100 years. Pre-rodeo action starts at 6:45 at the Ford Idaho Center, but the real fun gets going about 45 minutes later. KBOI 2 News will have complete coverage of this year's event, so you can join us every night for highlights of the 5-day competition. Walmart will stop selling a shirt that featured an Idaho company's trademark. Our affiliate in Pocatello says the company T-Shirt Mafia trademarked the phrase American Built back in 2002. The owner of the T-shirt company then found those words on a shirt made by Hybrid Apparel, and they were being sold in Walmart. Hybrid Apparel has agreed to stop using the phrase after T-Shirt Mafia lawyers sent them a cease and desist letter. And we have a message for campers. Pick up your trash. The Forest Service says rangers are noticing a dramatic uptick in trash and human waste being left behind at campsites in Idaho. In particular, messy camping areas are being found along Highway 21 and the Deadwood Reservoir.